Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hutchinson City Council meeting for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. We'll call the meeting to order. Approve the council agenda. Any agenda additions or corrections?
Mayor and Council, I don't have any additions or corrections for you. I just will note that item number 10, there's an agreement. There is an updated agreement on your desk tonight. That's the one that will be considered by the council later. So.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Chad to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Invocation, Foundation Church, good evening.
How are you? Good. It's loud. Jim Rogers, part of the leadership team at Foundation Church. We currently meet at Park Elementary. We were at the middle school, but we've been meeting there. So it's been a journey over the last 3 years. So excited to be a part of the community. But why don't we open in prayer? Lord, we just thank you. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for Easter, for your resurrection, which we just celebrated. And Lord, I ask right now that you would give this group of individuals wisdom as they make decisions for our community. Father, I pray a blessing over them. I pray a blessing over the community of Hutchinson, the city, Lord, what it stands for. And we just ask that you'd have your way. I thank you for these men and women in this room, and I ask that you would just bless them tonight, Lord, as they talk. I pray that fruit would come forth from everything that they have for our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Does anybody have anything tonight? All right, we do have a proclamation underneath there. National Bike Month, May 2025. Whereas for more than 60 years, the month of May has been recognized nationally as National Bike Month by the League of American Bicyclists and promote bicycling as a healthy, fun, and sustainable mode of transportation and recreation. And whereas the city of Hutchinson, a proud silver level bike-friendly community, continues to support and promote safe bicycling through education, community events, and investment in bicycle infrastructure. And whereas local organizations, including the Hutchinson Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Council, bicycle clubs, schools, businesses, healthcare providers, and civic groups will all actively participate in Bike Month activities through May of 2025. And whereas the city's trail system, including the scenic Loose Line State Trail and many miles of connecting sidewalks and trails, provide residents and visitors with safe and enjoyable opportunities for commuting, exercise, and outdoor recreation. And whereas Hutchinson bike-friendly culture contributes to the community well-being, improves health, public health, boosts tourism, supports local businesses, and enhances overall quality of life. Whereas promoting bicycle safety through public awareness and education is essential to ensure that bicyclists and motorists alike can share the road safely and responsible. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Gary Forcier, Mayor of Hutchinson, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as National Bike Month in Hutchinson, Minnesota. Be it further resolved that the city of Hutchinson, that the city council encourages all residents to explore many benefits of bicycling and join the celebration by participating in local events and riding safety throughout our community. That was a long one. All right, public comment. Anybody wants to address the council, just please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Is this about the chickens, or do we wait later for the chickens?
There's nothing on the agenda for chickens tonight. That will be at the May 13th council meeting.
Yeah, probably won't make that. Sorry.
All right, thank you. Any other? Moving on. Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes of April 8th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Dave to approve those minutes. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Say nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda will be done with one motion unless somebody pulls something off for discussion. You didn't know we had a long proclamation first, did you? All right, A is approval of issuing temporary liquor license to the Hutchinson J.C. June 12th through the 15th, 2025 at Masonic West River Park. B is approval of purchasing 2 variety frequency drivers for wastewater treatment facility. C is approval of amending resolution number 15848, authorizing to execute Minnesota Department of Transportation grant and for airport improvements as for skid steer mounted snowplow. B is approval of resolution number 15855, resolution to dispose of surplus park department surplus property. Hobart spool gun. E is approval of resolution number 15856, resolution to dispose of surplus street department surplus property. That's a leaf vacuum. F is approval of resolution number 15857, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of lot split at 216 4th Avenue Southwest. G is approval of resolution number 15858, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of final plat for the Berg addition. H is approval of resolution number 15859, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of final plat for Elks Ridge Estates. I is approval of resolution number 15860, resolution establishing location for traffic control device stop sign at Hilltop Drive and Garden Road. J is approval of resolution number 15861, resolution adopting a finding and facts and reason for approval of site plan review for the landing located at 126 Franklin Street Northwest. K is approval of resolution number 15862, resolution authorizing the execution of tax instrument financing note relating to the Dropline Property LLC project. L is approval of issuing parade permits for the Memorial Day Parade on May 26, 2025. M is approval of Dairy Day celebration on June 6, 2025 in Library Square. Consideration for approval of Hutchinson J.C. Water Carnival request. O is approval of 51st Annual Arts and Crafts Festival to be held September 13th and 14th, 2025 in Library Square and First Avenue Southwest, East and Hassan Street. P is claims appropriations and contract payments, register A. Is there anything anybody wants pulled off?
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Dave to approve the consent agenda A. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda 2, claims appropriation contract payments. I will be abstaining from the vote.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Tim, with me abstaining. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, we're gonna skip down to new business. Elk Ridge Estate Subdivision Agreement. Dan?
Thank you very much, Council. Set up to receive an updated subdivision agreement for the Elk Ridge Estate project. We were waiting for some numbers to come back in terms of the cost estimate for the project. And you'll notice that on both the third to the fourth page here, we included a new price on that. It's a $1,012,000. 1.02 million is the cost, and that's what we base our city fees on. So we need to put that in there and get that documented. The other thing we did is we included our addendum. We could do that for our the acceptance of city infrastructure fees, so that when the project is finished, it knows how it needs to be done so that the city can accept the infrastructure and possible inspection services and different things like that. So it's been a number of years since we've had an extensive subdivision agreement like this in front of the city council. So if you have any questions, certainly I'm here, Mark's here, Sticker's here, if you have an answer, otherwise staff recommend approval of the agreement.
Motion. Entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Dave to approve the agreement. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. First reading of ordinance number 25-855, ordinance amending section 154.067 of the Hutchinson City Code regarding the I-1 zoning district.
Yes. So this item is relative to our industrial park area, the I-1 zoning within the community. Back in December, the Planning Commission discussed the idea of data centers in the industrial park area. There's been a lot of discussion kind of nationwide in the state about these very large data centers. This one that potentially would be coming to Hutchinson would not be a huge one like the ones you hear about in the news and things like that. But in order to even talk about a project like that, we needed to make an amendment to our ordinance. And the thought is that within the conditional use permits of the I-1 district would make the most sense to have data centers. And the rationale behind that is that then we could study the individual proposal that would come in and make sure that it fits, and that if necessary, we add any conditions to mitigate negative effects of that, such as noise or whatnot. So tonight's just the first reading to look at adding data centers as a conditionally permitted use within that I-1 district.
And Dan, I guess one of the reasons for this is that right now, technically through our zoning code, data centers wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, right now they're not permitted at all. So in order to have one, we need to have this in there. Yeah, thanks, Matt, for noting that. And it's one of those things where the more data we use as people with phones and computers and things, when people talk about the cloud's a data center somewhere.
So Dan, why was it not at all allowed before? Was there a real negative?
No, it just wasn't something that
Was noted.
it's a new technology, so you know, we talk about truck terminals and recycling facilities and all these other things. It just wasn't, it didn't fit any of our categories, so we just needed to add it. It wasn't that it was intentional or anything, it never came up before.
All right,
They're
thanks.
relatively new. I mean, it's not something that's been around a long time.
Yeah, they've probably been around, 20 plus years, but to the extent now with all the data out there and people's backing up their iPhone and their Google Photos
But they haven't branched out to rural areas like they are now.
yeah, I think there's been a little bit in certain areas of the state where there's been some of them. A lot of it is really based on power prices and what they can get and land prices. So I think part of it is now that some of these other areas, metro areas are filling up with industrial areas with these. Now some of the companies are looking at locating other places, and it's finally come to Hutchinson. Some requests anyway.
Well, we're seeing a lot of, with AI, it's demanding such a large amount of capacity that they're putting, this, I think in Hutch, it would probably be more of a hub as opposed to where they have the larger centers where, because of the speeds out here as opposed to the Twin Cities or wherever.
Yeah, and quite frankly, from our perspective, there's co-locating data centers, there's AI data centers, there's cryptocurrency mining data centers, there's all kinds of them. From our perspective, it doesn't really matter what they're doing as much as the use itself. So, yeah, we'd recommend approval of that. Planning Commission didn't have any over concerns about it and think that it could be a good opportunity for some of our community to see this type of use go in.
I'll move to approve ordinance number 25-855.
I'll second it. Motion by Tim, second by myself. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Roll call. Tim?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Pat?
Nay.
Chad?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. Setting council workshop for July 8th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. to review 2024 financial audit report.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, obviously, we're in the middle of audit season, so that report will be done, and this will be our annual workshop to go over the results of our annual audit.
I'll make a motion to set that workshop.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Dave to set that workshop for July 8th, 2025 at 4:30. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, we'll skip back up to communication request petitions, the Economic Development Authority year-end report. Good evening, Miles.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm going to be quick. Okay, just a quick overview of what the Economic Development Authority was up to in 2024. And as I go along, be sure if you have any questions or whatever, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions. So just real quick overview of what the purpose of the Economic Development Authority is. One, facilitate redevelopment, mostly downtown, create jobs for the community, and promote the success of manufacturing. Locally, I would say the economy's doing pretty darn good. I just finished up doing a census of our local manufacturers, so I surveyed 30 companies. Of the 30, 14 of them are adding staff right now, they're hiring. 10 of them are on the downswing for different reasons, and then 6 of them are just the same. So, big growing companies, Warrior Manufacturing is growing a lot, Zephyr's growing a lot, Resonetics is growing quite a lot, and then Minnesota Specialty Yeast here at the end of Washington, and then Milk Specialties Global have added quite a few staff in the last year. You've heard me talk about it many times, the shortage of workforce, that is our number one issue, and that is continuing. So as of today, anywhere between 97 to 150 people I would need. The jobs are there, we just don't have a body to fill the jobs. So now I just did that survey right before recent events in the economy, so who knows how that's going to shake out going forward. But at least as of the end of March, a lot of companies were hiring and we need a lot of bodies. Quick overview of our different strategies. You know, number one, it's business retention and expansion, business incubation with the enterprise center, business attraction, which is mostly companies expanding, downtown redevelopment, talent development, because we need workers, childcare business development, that's a new one, workforce housing development, that's a new one. So all the progress here, there's kind of one piece for every strategy actually. So in business retention and expansion, the reason we prioritize that so much is that that's your number one source of new job creation. That's where the economy really grows. And it's the most cost-effective method of economic development. If you've got 10, 12 companies that between them add 40, 50 people, that's way easier than trying to recruit some company from the outside to hire that many. So it's just super cost-effective. And it's our best possible way to market the community because existing companies talk to their friends who may not be in Hutchinson, and if we're treating our guys the way they deserve, then that word gets out, and then other companies start looking at Hutchinson because they see how well they're getting treated. Since 2017, we've had 18 manufacturing projects totaling more than 850,000 square feet. Good progress. Second strategy is business incubation. So we have the Hutchinson Enterprise Center. A new company out there, Smoky Dukes, is going to be manufacturing pretzels, snack pretzels. They should be going into production here, I think, within the next couple weeks, and then we'll see how it goes. So we'll have them at the Enterprise Center for 3-4 years, and hopefully the company grows, and we'll see what happens. Still have a little square of space I need to get leased out, and we're working on that. But most of the building is full. Third strategy is business attraction. So usually this is kind of tied to how ready are you for a company to expand. So we had the Systems West building, it was vacant. That was kind of the key element in getting Miller Manufacturing to expand up here from Glencoe. So they're busy out there setting up shop right now. And my understanding is they're going to be doing warehousing, but then also assembly of different products. So I think things will be coming from Glencoe up here for final assembly and then going out from here. They're currently adding, I think, 3 new loading docks to the building. So there's kind of a buzz of activity out there. Fourth strategy is downtown redevelopment. That's a big one for us. Mostly because downtown, that's the biggest concentration of taxable market value in the community. There's a lot of value up and down Main Street. So we want to be very proactive in taking care of it. So you can see we have our 3 downtown programs, signing on a grant program, facade improvement matching grant, and then our commercial loan program for downtown. So between those 3 programs, we were able to invest over $169,000 in 2024. The fact that we're intentional about it, I think, is a big deal. I've been to many communities. I was in one recently. Downtown looks horrible. I mean, it's boarded up, vacant shops, and you go around the alley and back, and there's bricks laying all over the place. It looked like a war zone. It was awful. And ours looks pretty darn nice, and I think that's because we keep investing in the downtown year after year after year. State Theater was purchased by Jason and Jenna Wall. Red and Linda retired and moved to Wisconsin. And we were just thrilled to have, Red and Linda here for the 20 years or whatever it was. And they did a great job. And now Jason and Jenna are bringing a lot of new excitement to the State Theater. They've had a huge spike in attendance. I mean, they're selling out that main auditorium, which is amazing to think about. And I've been told there's times when they have line out the door going down the block to Main Street. So it's like, how cool is that? And they're bringing in people from all over the place to spend money in downtown Hutchinson. So that's a big win for us. So super exciting. We finished up a new downtown plan in 2025. So now we have a roadmap for new projects in the downtown. I think 3 of them that are being looked at right now, no decisions made. We're just trying to evaluate and think, okay, should we be doing this or doing that? but we're looking at potentially bringing back the Downtown Association. I think there's discussions about that, kind of give that organization a new mission. And then other things would be some improved signage perhaps for parking lots, help people find the public parking. And then we're evaluating the idea of a festival street, which would be a gathering place for community events. So we're just studying all these at this point, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Jorgensen Hotel project, this one has been going on for a number of years. It was, gosh, 3 years ago, I think we were here setting up a TIF district for this thing. And then this year, well, in 2024, we went out and got a grant from the state of Minnesota to help with demolition costs. And we're continuing to work with the developer here to get this thing moving. I'm going to have a talk with him. He emailed me today, and I'm going to talk with him on Friday. So I know development, it's kind of a hard, and it's a long process. So we're just going to keep pushing on it. The idea that I've been told is that this is going to be a new hotel, so it'd be another cobblestone hotel, more the kind of a downtown design. But we're still working to get this thing rolling, so I'll just keep pushing. One project that's going forward is the row home project. This is where the old Franklin House once stood. And so local developers doing this here, and this is going to be a 4-unit row home thing right on the north end of Franklin Avenue. Hopefully get this rolling here by towards the end of summer, I hope. Talent development, that's another one of our strategies. So here we kind of build our efforts around Tiger Path and working with the school. The biggest thing that we did this year that was kind of an interesting experiment is we hired a young gal to be an intern. She's a junior in high school. And we wanted her to be kind of an influencer with her friends and get more young ladies to take classes, technical classes like welding and machining and woodworking and things like that. So, because they can absolutely do this work, and we absolutely need them to be doing this work, quite honestly. And then also we're working to develop her as a leader. So we send her out to tour manufacturing companies so she gets an idea of what's going on in these big buildings. And then she's also done a whole bunch of interviews with female community leaders to learn about leadership. How do I be a leader? How do I be a good leader? All that stuff. So on the recruiting side, highly successful. So next year, next fall at Hutchinson High School, we've got a total of 42 gals that are going to be taking welding classes. So 27 in the freshman class, and then more in welding 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to have 42 girls. That's going to be more gals taking welding classes than ever in history. So it's like, that's cool. Okay. So I think our experiment was a success. Strategy number 6, childcare business development, because we have a shortage of slots in this town. So the EDA, we developed and implemented a new grant program, the Childcare Business Development Grant, just to help people that are doing family daycares in their house, help them to get started. Because you have to do certain things to the house to make it safe for little kids. That can run into many thousands of dollars pretty easily. So we said, well, let's see if we can find some ways to help support that effort just to make it a little bit easier to develop these family child care businesses. So we created the grant program. It's kind of based on a formula, $225 per slot created, up to $15,000 if many slots. And then also on the child care side too, we got a $40,000 grant from the state. This is to help Guiding Light Early Learning Center. When that opens, that's going to create 42 slots in the community, so that's a big step forward. Here's our scorecard. So these are the projects that we've been involved in the last couple years, starting with some projects we did kind of in conjunction with First Children's Finance, and then the middle kind of items 3, 4, and 5 there, those were ones that we funded with our EDA grant program to help those family daycares get started. And then on the bottom is Guiding Light Early Learning Center. So between all those, 89 new slots hopefully to be created in the community. that's progress. So when we started a couple years back, we had a need for 414 childcare slots. Today we're at 332. So we are making progress, but a lot of work to go yet. And then housing development. So you just approved the site plan for this thing. So this will be 79 unit market rate apartment down on the north end of Franklin, right next to the river. So projecting in late summer start to get this going. And then, 15 months later, hopefully that'll be open. So, this was another redevelopment project, a long and winding road. So, yes. Other items, I write grants. I think grant writing is an opportunity that, in my mind, is kind of low hanging fruit. So we set a goal every year, see how much we can get for grant dollars. So this year in 2024, we pulled in $205,000 from different sources. And since 2006, we obtained 24 grants totaling more than $6 million. So not too bad. Summary of key challenges. This is like every community in Minnesota and maybe America. Shortage of workforce, shortage of childcare workers to work at the childcare, and shortage of housing. Every demographic, everything from starter first apartment to move up apartment to your first house to your move up house to your downsize house to your assisted living. Every single demographic we're short on the housing side. I think that's basically it. Just wanted to make a note. You're all invited. There's a workforce housing and rural narrative workshop that's going to be on Tuesday, May 6th, 4 o'clock. And so you're all invited to that. A couple really, really very good speakers, Luke Greiner and Ben Winchester, are going to be talking about things that are impacting the community. So it'd be really super informative. That's it. I want to say thank you for your support. You make it all possible. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Miles, where's that new child daycare gonna be located at?
The daycare's, Guiding Light Early Learning Center, that's at, is it Faith Lutheran? Peace Lutheran Church. Yep.
It's the old one, remember that it shut down?
Yeah,
There you
So
go.
they just, it was kind of sad, it was more the staffing that closed that.
right.
That's the toughest part, just
Yeah.
keeping people in there, so.
Yeah, couple factors there, yep.
A few improvements, I think, didn't they, Miles?
Yes, yep. So they're in the process now of trying to get their executive director hired. That's step one. Then they got to get some teachers on board, and then they can start receiving kids. So what I was told most recently was they're hoping, towards the end of summer to be able to open the doors.
I think Mike McKim's one of the driving forces.
Yeah.
Really got behind it and helped get it going.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We definitely need that, so.
Well, and it had been once, it really
Right.
worked out really nice, they didn't have to build or remodel much.
Anything else for Miles?
As I travel the state and I tell people I'm from Hutchinson, it's incredible how many people know about the Tiger Path program. It's like everywhere. The question I have, Miles, is I move a lot of people around right now who are disabled. And so I ask them how they feel about the community. And the number one answer to that is, especially for wheelchairs, is a lot of our businesses aren't easily accessible by people with wheelchairs or walkers or those kind of things. Are there some kind of grant programs out there, or is there a way we could do community grants to assist businesses with making them more accessible to our? I know a lot of them were grandfathered in, ring a bell and we'll come get you, those kind of things, but.
I would say yes. I would have to dig into it a little bit more, but I have to believe there's resources out there to help businesses retrofit and become more accessible. I think, like you say, a bunch of them were kind of grandfathered in, and then they don't always want to do it for one reason or another.
And it's interesting because they talk about the downtown. That's one of the most. I probably talked to 30 people about it, and they're like, we'd shop downtown more if we had access to.
Yep, I totally
access
agree.
to building and parkings and things like that.
Yep.
Now, and sometimes you have to weigh everything with a grain of salt. When you have the same people, a large group of people saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a cost factor.
And I understand that. And I understand it's not
off
cheap
of
to
it.
do that,
Yep.
but there has to be ADA grant money out there.
Yep, I think definitely it's an opportunity that we need to pursue. So,
Thank you.
Yep, I'll dig
Well-
into that.
And one thing I do want to note, and this is, I think it's just a reminder, especially for the elected officials. One of the issues with our Main Street is that you've got the MinDOT right away that goes right up to those buildings. That really makes it difficult for a lot of the ADA accessibility to happen, especially on the front side of the building. Now, I think there's probably opportunities on the back side. Now, I will say, Miles, I think some of our downtown rehabilitation money that we've had, that's a allowable use is the rehab, and I'm not sure if anybody's necessarily used some of that. But I think a lot of that is business related, so it's businesses that have to be willing to,
And
apply for that. And those are areas that we can help them with, but they still have to be willing to do that.
And like I reminded him, I said, you can remind the business and let them know there might be grants available and that kind of thing, and that more people, and because they associate with each other, and if you're losing a customer base, or you have a way to be more accepting to a new customer base, why not?
Yep, I totally agree. I think sometime in May or June here on a nice day, I'm gonna just go up one side of Main Street and down the other and visit all of them. And that's something that I can definitely mention to them too, and say, hey, if you wanna do something with that front step or whatever, let's see if we can figure something out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for Miles? Thanks, Miles.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, governance, we have the Hutchinson Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board minutes from February 18th and March 18th of 2025. Planning Commission minutes from March 18th, 2025. The City of Hutchinson Financial Report and Investment Report for March of 2025. Chief Kefferson, you got anything for us? Where are the little speed trap deal, or not speed trap?
Tell us where all the speed traps
That came out wrong. Sorry, Chief.
But in case you wanted to.
Speaking of traps,
No, the the flashing speed signs that tells you how fast you're going. Are they?
like our speed trailer,
Yeah,
the one that we
yeah,
have at the police
yeah.
department,
Yeah.
it's currently not out.
Okay.
If you have a place where you think it needs to go, we can certainly get it there. But
Well, I think Denver, I've heard more people talk about Denver,
That curvy part there between.
Yeah. I know.
And it was there last year.
Was it there for a while?
I think I broke the record. No, but it was there last year for about a week.
Yeah.
When it flashes, does that mean anything? No.
we can certainly get it out there
Okay.
if you desire.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. And
The other place is over by Elks Park, because there's a lot of kids out there right now and people just go barreling down that road.
Stretch.
I'm sure just let Chief Kipperson know where you think you should be, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to throw it out there.
But just for your guys' information too, we do traffic service requests. So if a citizen happens to come in and say they have a lot of speeding going on in front of their residence or in their block or neighborhood, what have you, fill out a form. We document how many times we sit there and run traffic and speeds, not just a radar trailer, but actually with a squad car sitting there. And then we get back to that citizen after we've done that for about a week or two, and then give them kind of the results of what we found. Now, in all fairness, usually when there's a squad car sitting there, they're not speeding, but, which is why the speed trailer's nice.
That's where the speed trap is.
There you go.
Okay.
The other thing is I'm seeing a lot of complaining about the left-hand turn into Tiger Elementary and that area there. Not complaint that it's there, it's the people who
Are still
don't see
doing
the
it?
sign. And I was gonna tell Mike, the flags there that kind of identified that are like non-existent now. They used to, I think, be red and,
We do try to get there virtually every morning.
and there was officer there this afternoon, so.
So usually right around those bell times or dismiss times, and that's when we are there. Usually stopping at least one car there a day, explaining to them. But people get pretty creative on how to avoid making a left turn there too. So.
All right, anything else for Chief?
All right,
Thank you. Mike, you got anything?
One quick one, Mayor Council, I wanted to just remind folks our Hassan Street project kicks off next week on Monday, and it'll start with signage getting put out today. Do want to note too, there was a mistake made on the Stony Point section of signage. That along with First Tier, because of some of the events in the park early this summer, that will actually get done after school is out in a similar start to Dale. So that signage over on Stony will get updated. It was noted today when they put it out that they had the April dates like the rest of the signage. But most of Hassan, along with 1st, 3rd, 6th, 7th, will get started next week. They'll do the reclaim portion first and then start with some spot utility work. So hoping both projects, including Dale, wrap up by early August.
Are any of them going to be closed completely, Mike?
No,
or-
very limited. Third will be closed for a little bit. Some of our deepest excavation, we've got a little bit of sewer to replace there. But for the most part, it's surface work. So a lot of gravel and then some spot work that we'll be doing, and they'll just kind of move along as they go. But very little permanent closures, except for some very limited time. So a few driveways that'll be impacted at times too. But Chad and now Corey, who's replaced Keith, Corey has started, and he'll be responsible for Dale. Chad will be our point person for Hassan, and both are on site regularly too. So they do a really good job communicating and being available.
Les Scuba Parkway.
What's that?
Les Scuba Parkway, is that open again?
I believe it's open, and we put a lot of material down this year and regraded that stretch too. So that's cleaned up nicely from what that probably will last look like in the fall. So.
It may not open until May 1st.
May 1st. I was going to say there was
That's-
maybe talk
that's-
that it would open soon, but maybe it is.
Yeah,
May
last time I
1st,
was
so.
by the barricade.
Yeah,
we're
I want to
still
say,
on
I think that's generally when we open up most of our parks is May 1st, so that's probably when that will.
when that comes.
That'll be vastly improved when it does open here soon.
That's the loop around the sanctuary.
Yeah.
too.
Correct.
Yeah, it was
It's washboardy there.
washboardy there, yes.
West side.
Yeah, we brought in a lot of material, crowned it a little bit differently, so it should look really good to start the season.
Well, it used to be a trap. If you drove back there, you didn't come out.
You could pull friends out and charge them.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. If there are any other questions, let us know. Matt had asked to, there will be some information going on Facebook this week along with information on the website. And then we'll put some additional information out when Dale again starts. And that, again, will follow the close of school here this summer. So.
Good.
Thanks.
Anything else? Thanks, Mike. Kelly, you have anything for us tonight? Alrighty. Mark,
Nothing tonight.
nothing? Chad, let's start with you.
Didn't have anything extra.
Alright, Timmy?
Well, two things. Memorial Day is at the end of May, and they'll be unveiling the Vietnam wall panels that were left here last year. And some sad news, we had a former Hutchinson veteran, a former Hutchinson resident who was a veteran, a younger man, who was living in Hopkins, who took his own life last week. So check in on your veteran neighbors, friends. This time of year gets very difficult for them, especially around a holiday, Easter and Memorial Day. We thought we had things under control, but it can happen like that. So just, it's such a morbid subject, but the community needs to understand that everybody can reach out. And it's not only veterans, we have mental health issues all over the place and people are struggling. So just remember that.
Alright, Dave?
Yes, thank you. I got a couple of things here that I'd like to go over. I was over at the Hutch volunteer thing before coming here, and Parents Inspired, I was informed by Sandy that they have purchased the Old Flank Steakhouse on Main Street, and they're going to move their operation from over by the pizza place, Jimmy's Pizza, and move over in there. I don't know how fast that'll go. They got some great plans for that. And I do believe that they have some grant information that they are going to try and get 2 wheelchair vans to do volunteer drivers. So they're working on that really hard. And I think for the amount of time that they've been in business, so to speak, they're jumping along pretty good when it comes to that, getting a lot of help from different areas, and a lot of it's grants, but they're going to use that building to enhance kids with young people with disabilities of one sort or another. So they're into it pretty heavily and doing well on that. I do believe. Today we had the MMRTCC subcommittee meeting, and not much in there that really would. Grants are coming through, which was a month or so ago was kind of on a teeter-totter, not knowing which way it was going to flop. The big thing is they were at a meeting, and Trailblazers Transit, and I'm sure everybody, and the things that Miles talked about tonight is that people, it's the employment, the number of people that are employable is really down for some odd reason. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have to try and say why it is, but right now with their drivers, they are making about 50% of their commitment between Sibley, McLeod, and, oh, why would I forget that one? Wright counties that they're into. They're doing only about 50% what they figure they should be able to do. They need 25 drivers, and they figured with another 25 drivers, they would get up to 80% of covering all 3 counties as far as people that need transportation. They do have, apparently they have flyers out, or they have advertising out that is stating that they're looking for drivers. Their pay is relatively, I'm not going to say what it is, because sure as heck someone would say that ain't what they offered me if they went there. But anyway, there's a website called Marti, MARTI.com, that apparently has their information on it, what they're looking for drivers and that type of thing. So I thought I'd pass that along, because I think it is that most of the subcommittee commissioners hadn't seen anything about that. So, but I guess it is out toward Buffalo and in that area that they're advertising the heaviest. But so other than that, I don't have anything else that I would like to report on, because that's the 2 main things that I learned today. So,
All right,
thank you.
thanks, Dave. Pat?
Public Arts met a week ago, and that's mainly just to go over the fact that the new sculptures are arriving. They'll be putting up usually May. Those get done in that. So if you see the old ones disappearing, they're being picked up and taken down and picked up. And that's kind of it. EDA meeting tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Pat. Matt?
And we had an individual here that asked about the chicken ordinance. It is posted on our website, so if anybody wants to go and take a look at the draft report, you can find that on the front page of our website. We also notified the public of our public hearing, which is scheduled for May 13th. That'll take place at 6 o'clock, so the council will take feedback on that ordinance before you consider your first reading, and should have informed the individual here earlier. You know, they can always still send emails or call council members if they can't make it to that public hearing, if they would like to give any feedback or input on the proposed ordinance. So, or even if they send something to me, I'll pass it along. So, then the 2 other things, Mike already talked about the road closure and the May 6th workforce, and then just to kind of heads up, there's been a request to kind of get a joint meeting of the EDA, Hutch Utilities, and City Council together to talk about economic development. So, I'd like to try to schedule something here the next month or so.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, I had the HRA, just went over park towers and, trying to put some stuff together for fix-up funds for, people just, come and try to, come and get some grants from the Housing Redevelopment Authority to help with fix up. We did not have a resource allocation meeting. We had afternoon off, Chad.
We did.
So, and actually did airport, we do have some hangars available. Fuel sales have been good. Otherwise, planes are coming in and out, so that's good. With the wheels down. Otherwise, that's it for me. Let's go home.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.